I never put my hands on anybody. I never raised my voice too loud. Like, this was one of them times where it was like, it shouldn't have got this crazy.
It shouldn't have escalated to the
Right.
way that it did.
Now, that was Houston rapper Megan Thee Stallion. The rapper broke down on CBS This Morning with Gayle King as she talked about getting shot after an altercation. Now, it wasn't her altercation, but Tory Lanez was in an argument with someone else, and she said then she ended up being shot in her foot. She's getting a lot of heat for talking about it, while Lanez himself can't. I asked my guest tonight if doing this interview at all was the right step for Megan.
I think it hurt her, and that's unfortunate. A lot of people, I'm seeing the comments, and a lot of people are on Tory's side for whatever reason. And that's just a shame that we as Black women can't come out and tell our story, and that's what's going on. I think that's why it took her so long to come out and share the details of the story, because she knew the type of feedback that she was going to get, and it's not being reciprocated.
And Young Jazz, for those who don't know about the Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion story, break that down as quick as possible for them and why there is beef between those two.
So basically, Megan did the interview and she said that they were at a party that night at Kylie Jenner's house. She said, they left the party and she was trying to get out of the car because she didn't want to be around these people. And she said that basically there were shots fired at her feet. And before you know it, the cops were there. There were helicopters, all that. She said she lied to the police about what actually happened because she was fearful that, being Black, it was the time around the George Floyd movement. She was nervous that, things could have took a left turn with the cops and she said somebody could have died. And she was like, yes, she was physically hurt, but in the moment, somebody could have died. So she lied. They brought her to the hospital. There was the medical records that have been released, said there were bullet fragments in her feet. And now, this has become a great debate because there's people speculating what's really true about the entire story. And we weren't there. We don't know what really happened. But what we do know is Megan was physically hurt. We can say we seen it. We've seen the photos of that. And we know she's still emotionally hurt. And there's a lot of trauma there. And the fact that Megan, she comes out to try to tell her perspective of the story and people bash her, that's crazy.
And what we heard from her is the allegation that the Canadian-born rapper Tory Lanez is the one who pulled the trigger.
Right.
Right. And now he's facing criminal charges and an investigation into that. J-Mac, is this a lot of mess that Megan really didn't need to be involved in? Obviously, she's got a beef with Carl Crawford, Jay Prince, Tory Lanez. What's your thoughts on this situation? And we don't want to blame her, but I'm saying she's got a lot of beefs around town.
Okay, I don't want to say that she has a lot of beefs. She has a lot of disagreements.
Okay, got it.
Beef is very serious. And this is serious also, but with the stuff with Tory Lanez, you can't blame her for getting shot. Whoever shot her, you can't blame her. She's a young girl, so she's going to go out in the community and she's going to go party. She's going to have fun. So don't blame her for any of that. And then as far as her contract goes, people keep on blaming her for that. You got to blame her manager. And I always say this, Isaiah, wait till we try them in court. See who wins the court cases. Don't try her on Instagram, Twitter, or any other social media platform.
Siobhan, do you think Megan should not talk about these matters anymore, or she has any right, just like anyone else, maybe a spokesperson whenever someone wants to know about this stuff?
I think it was time for her to speak out. This happened back in 2020, and just seeing the things that lined up before this incident. I remember during that time of the pandemic, everybody knew about Quarantine Live when Tory Lanez had this huge Instagram Live, and Megan was a frequent during his Instagram Lives for that. And then to have this right after that, and people question their relationship, whether they were together or not. She needs to come out. She needs to tell her side of the story, and I commend her for doing it. But like J Mac said, you got to try this out in court.
And this is her only time speaking out, and people want to bash her and come at her. And this is the only time she has spoken out. Your boy Trey Songz did a whole album about her.
Dissing her left and right.
Tory Lanez.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jazz.
And this was Megan, you know, Megan was doing this on an official platform. She was being vulnerable. The last time when she did say that Tory shot her was on Instagram Live. So J-Mac's right. This is the first time that she really wanted to get out there and like give an official statement. And the first thing people do is tear her down.
I don't like how people are comparing this to Jussie Smollett. Like, let's not do that. Like,
well, yeah, those are two totally different things. Totally different things. But Jazz, do you think this interview with Gayle King on CBS helped or hurt her, or?
I just feel like the fact that she spoke out and said what happened from her perspective is, you know, that's a part of the story. There's two sides to the story. There was 4 people in the car. There's really 4 sides to the story. But I feel like if Megan felt like she wanted to get this off her chest after she'd been holding it in for so long, yes, it is a situation that should be handled in court. But if Megan felt the need to want to express herself, I mean, you see her crying in the video. She can barely even tell the story. So it's unfortunate to even watch.
And J-Mac, how important is it that she has absolute support here in her hometown base?
I mean, I always think it's great to have support from your own city, at least until you go into court. And what if we find out that everything she said is the truth? Wouldn't y'all feel bad if everything she said was the truth? You got to let the court decide this. Megan said she got shot. I believe her. Who wants to say they got shot and be lying about it?
Isaiah, let me piggyback off of J-Mac. I mean, as Houston people, we have to support her because when she mentions George Floyd, like, if anybody knows about that situation and it hits home, it's people in Houston. So if she had familiar with the situation, she went to TSU, George Floyd was third ward, we got to stand up for her. We got to be there for her because the world, they knew the situation, but it doesn't hit close to home to them like it does to us here in Houston.
And especially when we don't know if she's lying or not. You definitely gotta go with her inside the courtroom and have her back at this particular moment right now.
Trust is important. Thank you guys for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. We'll continue to follow this. I'm sure there will be more developments. Thank you all.